Welcome back to another episode of Beer Talk. I'm your host, Maalik Stark, and today we'll be speaking with someone from Liquid Noise Brewing. Be sure to follow us on cheerspa.com and follow us on all social media at cheers_PA and look out for new episodes every other Thursday on wherever you get podcasts. Another big shout out to the PLCB. And without further ado, welcome Sean Carson.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Oh yeah, thanks for doing this. We just want to talk about you in the industry and being a head brewer at Liquid Noise.
Sure.
How'd you get involved in brewing?
Well, I was a home brewer for about 14 years, and in between that time, I spent doing some jobs for some local breweries, Springgate Brewing being one of them in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and after life took me away from that for a little while and out of professional brewing, I did a small apprenticeship with Cold Springs Brewing Company in Dillsburg, and then I ended up here at Liquid Noise.
Okay. So from Springgate to Cold Springs, that's a little different. I used to work at Springgate also. So
okay.
I know around that layout. So how is that different from going over to Cold Springs?
Well, when I was at Springgate, I did a lot of the second batch work, which meant we did 2 batches a day at the time. And in the evening, I would finish up the second batch, get things ready for the next day, do mostly a little bit of maintenance work on different facets of the brewing process. Cold Springs, however, I did the entire process from start to finish, along with the head brewers there. Shout out to Kristen and Steve at Dillsburg. At Cold Springs, and that helped me kind of get ready to do many of the different things I do at Liquid Noise.
Okay. And when did you start with Liquid Noise?
I started, I believe, last June is when I got into the building, and then we had some work here to do, and then our grand opening was in December.
Okay, that's awesome. I went there a few times actually, so I assumed it was kind of taken over by different people and
yes.
Revamped a little bit. Do you know anything about the name of Liquid Noise? Where did that come from?
The original Liquid Noise before it was taken over by the new ownership and I was brought in to be brewer here. I believe it was very, very much music themed at the time. The actual name itself, I'm not sure how that all came about originally. When we took it over, it was basically just taking the business and running with the brand that it was. But we are bringing something a little bit new to it, where we're not as heavy music leaning. Our Liquid Noises, we're making noise with our beer and making noise as a family place, and not as much musical.
Yeah, because even with the logo, you can notice, it's a guitar neck a little bit.
Right. Yeah. We had guitar necks as our tap handles at one point, and we thought those were pretty cool. We may continue with that, but we don't want to our beer names themselves and our branding altogether isn't specifically music centric, where I think it was like that before.
And I assume that you all are brewing all the time, because I've been there since, and I've only noticed it now, is that production behind the bar.
It is. Yeah. The way this is set up, basically, I'm sitting at the bar now with the logo behind me, but all of our equipment is easily viewable from the tap room and the food service area. And when we're here, people can watch us do our thing back there. And it's kind of neat to see people's reactions to what we're doing while we're here brewing. So it's kind of fun.
Yeah. So just to talk about that space, and I've heard stuff about possibly expanding that a little bit to that entire strip.
Well, I can't really comment on that right now, sadly. No. It's not like that, but I'm not too sure what the future holds for that. I know we've been open about 2 months now, so we're trying to figure out, especially on the brewing side, volumes and things like that, as every brewery does, going through the year, figuring out what to make when, what's good to make when, with the patronage that we're having. But we'll see what the future holds on that one. We're still kind of working that out.
Yeah. And with you all being right in Marysville, and I notice that I don't go there as often as like I'd like to, but I pick up a trail right there at I think that's Hawk Rock that's right there. So I assume that you will
Yeah,
have to get hikers from the Appalachian Trail all the time.
I think so, and I think I know this area is big with kayaking as well.
Oh
So
yeah.
a lot of that going up and down, and especially people traveling to Penn State games,
Mhm.
other things like that, traveling up and down Route 15 here. I think summertime is going to be pretty slammed for us, which is going to be pretty great.
Okay. Yeah. And as far as like your experience with brewing at different places,
Mhm.
what drew you into that?
Drew me into brewing. It's funny. When I started brewing, I didn't really necessarily want to. It was kind of strange. My current father-in-law actually got me into it, and he said, "Hey, why don't you come over? I've been brewing beer for a while. Why don't you come over and give it a shot?" And I was like, I don't know. I like drinking beer. I don't know about making it. And then all of a sudden, I did one batch, and I never stopped. 15 years later. So
Oh wow.
that's kind of funny in that way. But I just love the process of brewing, the way you can create something from nothing, really, and then you can share that creation with everybody, which is pretty cool.
Do you remember what was one of your like first beers that you made?
Yeah, I remember exactly what I made. I made a Skull Splitter clone from Orkney Brewing. I remember
Okay.
exactly what I made, and it came out pretty good. And I was like, wow, this isn't too bad. And I went on from there, getting my process down, and I started competition brewing after a while, and that kind of the competitive edge to it too brought me into it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know the name. I don't know the brewery that you named, but what kind of beer was that?
Skull Splitter is a Scottish. Well, it's considered a wee heavy in English, wee heavy,
Okay.
um, but it's a little bit more towards a Scottish style. Um, You'd have to try it to really get it. Orkney, I can't remember what else they have in production, but Skull Splitter is probably their more famous one.
Okay.
Yeah, I can never remember if that's considered a more an English style or a Scottish wee heavy. I can't remember off the top of my head, but yeah, it's very caramel forward. That recipe, unlike a lot of wee heavies, called for some smoked malt in it. I love peated malt, so that was really cool.
Okay. Are you able to like replicate that into what you're doing now, as far as on a larger scale?
Yeah, scaling up. Smoked malt's always kind of interesting. Where a little goes a long way. So, so we haven't made any smoked beers here yet. We'll definitely have to pilot that going forward to make sure we scale
Yeah.
up the smoke correctly. But we could, yes. We're trying. I try not to use too many pre pre-canned recipes going into brewing, because you have the ability to make it all your own. I do take some inspiration from things I've done in the past and things I've seen from other places that are successful, but we really want to make it our own brand here.
Yeah. And I've had your beer. Fantastic. Like I just
Hope you
love
enjoyed
that.
it.
Yeah, I definitely did.
Great.
There's only a select few styles of beer that I don't like, but it doesn't make it bad.
Right.
um,
No.
yeah. So with the brewing at like two other places, or at least like
Mhm.
getting started with that, and you're only third one now. As far as like when you started and where you're at now, like the beer industry had to have changed drastically from then.
Oh, I mean, there's so many more. I mean, when I started home brewing, the amount of hops and the ingredients you could get alone were not even near what they are now. I mean,
Mhm.
the amount of hop varieties you can get that are freely available to just a home brewer, never mind a commercial brewery who has access to wholesale and
Mhm.
everything else. I remember we were just starting to get things beyond noble hops like Cascade and Citra, or Cascade and Texas or anything like that, or Tettinger. Started to get Citra and then Galaxy and Nelson Savin and all these other things that started to come out of the woodwork from breeding and different hop breeders and hop farms. It's just sky's the limit now
Yeah.
for what you can get. And even so, the guys who were home brewing even before I was home brewing, because you couldn't get craft beer easily. you had to drive for it, or it was like a niche thing.
Mhm.
They even said it just the amount of time between not having much and having what we have now was quick. There was a small span of time that happened in, so it was really cool to see that happen.
Yeah, I didn't grow up in like greater Harrisburg area, but I remember like turning 21, and it seemed like around that time is whenever craft beer was huge and like just completely like blew up, and then everywhere there was a place that had craft beer on tap, or like you could go do a brewery tour at like your Sweetwater Terrapin, because I grew up in the South.
Yeah.
So yeah. And I assume it's the same up here. Like, I know
Mhm.
Trogs has been around for a while, but yeah, I
Right.
mean,
Yeah, I mean, at one point, I mean, it was basically, if I remember correctly, even when I turned 21 and started drinking officially, the ABC Brewing was here, Trogs was here, but Trogs still wasn't in the Hershey location at that time. So it was even like they were still in Harrisburg and just getting to the point where they could go and do a bigger space. Um, I can't think of any other really craft breweries in the area. I know Market Cross Pub down in Carlisle was one of the
mhm.
first ones that did craft brew on a smaller scale around here. History wise, I can't think of any other big ones that we had at the time.
Yeah, yeah,
Yingling, of course, but you have to drive
yeah,
about.
yeah.
Yeah,
And that's a little ways from here, maybe an
right,
hour and a half or so.
right, right.
So as far as where all are you, like if people wanted to buy, I don't go beer shopping a lot. Like I'm much more like a person to just go right to the place. So I would assume
Yeah,
that you all either are getting into distributing or already in a few places.
we are not yet.
Okay.
Like as I said, we're still trying to figure out volume in
Hmm.
house, trying to make sure we have things here first. We are looking at in the near future trying to get some distribution to kegs out to restaurants or
Okay.
other places that serve. Um, as for canning or that kind of distribution, that's a little ways down the road for us yet.
Fair enough.
But we're getting there. We're getting there for sure.
Yeah. I mean, you gotta start, like you said, like for, having like that grand opening like 2 months ago, like I still know people who love that place, and they invite me out there all the time. So
Great, great, great. Lovely. Yeah, we're hoping word of mouth is really a huge thing for breweries right now. Advertising wise and getting your name out there. And then after that you can kind of move into getting a good product into places where people can try it and have it on tap. And once you start getting requests for it, then you can move into other realms of distribution and kind of roll that into other opportunities.
so the Cold Springs and Spring, just because I know those, like it seems like the scale of which like you would have to be brewing now is maybe double the size of those places. All right.
Well, Springate at the time when I worked there, they had a 2 barrel system, so we were brewing pretty heavily. It was 2 days, 3 days a week, two batches a day. At Cold Springs, I'm not sure what their full volume is. I wasn't
Okay.
there every weekend personally. Yeah, but here I can say we have a 7 barrel system, and we're running it pretty full steam, at least one batch a week, if not two, sometimes depending on how much we have going out the door and how many people patron the location. So that's been pretty steady, which is great.
Yeah.
We're able to keep up, which is also great. But yeah, it's been pretty heavy brewing by way of a 7 barrel system.
Yeah. So what beer do you all make that like gets you the most excited? Like that if you had to tell one
Me?
person to have one beer.
Oh my. Oh, that's tough. I think I think I really love Irish Reds. That's actually my favorite probably thing to make and my favorite thing to drink when I go into a brewery. I love kind of every facet of them. They can be high caramel, they can be roasty, there's a lot of different ways you can take them.
Mhm.
And that's probably, if I were to say, that's probably my favorite thing to make on a day and my favorite thing to drink. So I'd say if you're coming in, give our Irish Red a shot. But give everything a shot because I like everything.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, we have a good variety here, and that was one of my biggest things too in brewing. Trying to take my ability to at home, or just make a lot of varying styles, and make them to style. If I tell you it's an Irish Red or an Irish Stout or a Martzen, I want you to know that's what you're going to get from me, or us here, is that it's to style of what we're trying to brew.
Yeah, because there is something to expect whenever you get like an Irish Red or a Marzen or a Stout. It's like you're expecting some things with little tweaks to make it personal,
Right,
or
right, right.
unique to like where you got it from.
Right. At the end of the day, I want people to know that when we advertise, hey, this is this beer, you know what you're going to get. It's that style.
And as far as like the location and like the atmosphere of that brewery, I like it. I know it, but like for people who haven't been there yet, like how would you describe that to them?
I would say, I mean, when we got here, we wanted our main goal was to make it a family friendly, very approachable, warm, inviting space, and because the local community, the community of Marysville has been amazing, amazingly supportive, and the surrounding communities have been amazingly supportive of us coming in and doing this. But we've tried to build this out as best we could to be warm and inviting. We have arcade games here now for kids to play if they're here with their parents. We have a lot of. I feel like we've done a lot here to make it much more inviting and like I said, more warm.
Okay. Yeah. I went there on a well, this might have been before like the new ownership. It was like a Halloween themed karaoke.
Oh
And,
yeah, that was
yeah.
we haven't done that.
And that was fun. I didn't participate in it, but everybody seemed to have a good time there.
Yeah, we do have we have been starting. We have trivia now on Monday nights. We have bingo on Wednesday nights. Actually, tonight from 6:30 to 8 is bingo. I have to check the board. I can never keep track. But we are starting to bring events in now that we've kind of got a sense of what we're doing here, and they've been very successful as well. People seem to be really enjoying them. That's a great idea, the karaoke.
I mean, or it's a bad idea. I mean,
well, who knows? Depending who's singing.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sing. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, like I said, I didn't. I know my limits, but
yeah, right. Not enough beer in this place.
Yeah, definitely not. And you all are a restaurant too. Like you have a kitchen there.
We do, yeah. We have a full service bar and kitchen, mixed drinks, wine. Our food is fantastic, and I can say that with absolutely no ego or intent. There, our food is fantastic. Our kitchen does an amazing job. Everybody involved here does an amazing job between the service staff, the bar staff. They people seem to really be enjoying it and responding well, and our service staff is always very, very attentive. So,
and I know a lot of people don't like this question. What's your favorite beer? Or I'll give you this. What's your favorite style of beer?
My favorite style of beer? I love Belgians. I do love Belgians. I love Belgian triples, Belgian quads, Belgian doubles. I just love the simplicity of those beers and the flavorfulness of those beers. They're all yeast driven most of the time, so they're also what's the word? They're also an experiment in what you can do with the yeast at what temperatures, and I love the flavor profiles that you can get from the same yeast at different temperatures in Belgians. They're probably my favorite style to go out and drink.
Okay. And is there one on tap there now?
We do have we do. We just tapped on the 3rd of this month. We tapped our Belgian triple. It's our first Belgian triple here, and we think it came out great. We're very happy.
Okay. Yeah. Is there anything that you want people to know about Liquid Noise?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, we're, like I said before, we have a full service restaurant. Staff is wonderful. We're trying our best to make our beer list as diverse as possible. We have everything from hazy IPAs to Belgian triple. We have a hazy pale ale around right now that we're really happy with. We're using, of course, as local breweries do. We use all PA liquors and PA wines. We partnered with Armstrong Valley Winery for our wines, and for our liquors, we have Dead Lightning and Hidden Still.
Okay.
And we've been very happy, and everybody seems to be very happy who's come in. So, come give us a shot. We'll be glad to talk to you about beer if any of our brewers are here. And I think you'll have a really good time here with the whole family.
Sweet. And I can't help but to ask, as a person who will drink stouts year round, with Hidden Still, or anything barrel aged over there right now, or?
Oh, we do not. We haven't done any collaborations yet. Like I said, we're only 2 months in, so those kind of things have to be approached. When you actually have availability of space to do that and to talk to those guys. It takes a lot of planning to do the collabs, of course, as people know.
Yeah.
Maybe possibly in the future, we're looking at that. Barrels are always a good option for high gravity stuff. So we'll probably look at that more into more of a winter time. We will still have our Irish Stout on, though. We're making that a staple here year round. So we will have at least one Irish Stout on.
Yeah. I mean, coming up in the next week, I think like the perfect time to have that Irish Red and Irish Stout ready.
Yep. We just did a new batch of the Irish Red coming out fresh for St. Patrick's Day. The Stout's on. So I hope everybody enjoys it.
Anything going on that weekend?
I think we're still in talks about that. We haven't advertised anything yet, but once we get the plan, I'm sure something will come out on Facebook shortly. And all of our other social media platforms follow us: Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I believe we have a Twitter as well.
Okay, sweet. Well, I won't take up too much more of your time. Thanks for sitting down and talking with me. And everyone, thanks for listening. Again, you can follow us on Instagram, Facebook at cheers_PA, and check out our website at cheerspa.com, and look out for new episodes every other Thursday. And cheers, Sean. Thanks.
Cheers. Thank you very much for having me again. It was a pleasure.